Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to episode number 22 of Tactical Crouch, the show where we talk about a ton of competitive Overwatch stuff, and every time you can guarantee that 75% of us know what we're talking about. And this week is no different. We have head coach of the Gladiators Legion, Maid. He's also second wind, right? Was before Gladiators Legion, and then it was... Help me out. How many you've been in 3 different regions, EU, NA,
and AU,
and Australia.
Yeah.
So you've been around the block, 3 different Contenders regions, head coaching. Congratulations on that, by the way, on the new gig with Gladiators Legion. And yeah, welcome to the show.
So you mentioned at the start there that it's 75% of people knowing what they're talking about. I am the other 25%.
You're
I would
not.
like to know. I have no idea what I'm...
Please. I've already see your reputation has preceded you a little bit. And we also just only let big brains on the show.
See, like, now it all makes sense. Like, by Maid admitting that, it makes perfect sense why he was only now able to get a job in Contenders NA, because everyone pretends to know what they're talking about there. And the viewers do. So
I see it.
You should have started pretending way earlier, Maid.
I'm just more honest than most. I will admit.
Yeah.
So I do need to ask you right away, before we even get into anything else, Maid, I need to know. You've coached in 3 different regions. Which one was the most difficult to coach in?
Okay, so I'd have to say Europe, just for the singular reason that I decided to join an all Danish language, and I still speak 0 words of Danish. I did not understand what was going on. They could speak English, but they didn't speak English. It was very difficult.
That would make it... I see why that would make it hard. We can barely... Yiska normally speaks mostly English on the show, and we still have a hard time understanding him. So, by the way, Yiska, what's our word for the day today?
Kata.
What's that?
Hangover.
I knew it. So it's kata?
Yeah, it's hilariously the same as a male cat. I don't know why that established in the German language, but somehow it did.
How does that happen in a language?
Dunno.
How do you get 2 words that mean obviously different? Is it like a reference to a male cat somehow, or is it just like 2 words, same thing, spelled the same way?
Yeah,
just mean totally different.
I feel
things.
like English has a very similar analogy that I won't recite on broadcast, but could be used very interchangeably. 2 words that don't mean anything. Even close.
Type it to me because I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, this is spicy.
Exciting.
Right, spicy. Thanks for not saying it on the show, though. All right. So, Yiska, I understand that you're hungover for this episode.
Yeah.
He's just leaning back, got his feet up, a little toast, like a little space heater by his feet.
I wish. Wait, what is it? Oh. Yeah,
we've got some
sense.
words that don't really make much sense on why they're called what they are, and
Yeah.
I have to check
English
on a
isn't
different
perfect.
screen, so this is hard for me.
I wouldn't say it's completely accurate, but again, what are we talking about, Chad?
Oh, I see.
You
Yeah,
guess.
I see.
You guess.
I see.
Let
Yeah,
your
the word is-
imaginations run wild.
The word is and
Exactly.
yeah.
Fill in the blanks for a chance to win a $100 gift card from our sponsor. But
Mate, what's a fun Australian word? I understand that you have some slang there, or some...
it's like they
word.
speak a completely different language. What's the language you guys speak in the weird Australian? It's like some sort of snake dialect or some sort of deadly spider venom lingo. They speak
Alright,
English.
so, okay, let's start with slang for drunk. It's called munted. If you get munted, you're drunk.
Munted?
Yeah, munted.
I stand corrected. That's fucking hilarious.
Munted? See, my brain connects immediately to Manatee for some reason.
Not Mana 10.
Ooh. Manta.
Tying it back.
There we go. Oh yeah, that's right. We do Overwatch here, don't we? That's what this show is
Oh,
about.
this isn't a drinking podcast? Oh, darn.
No. No. Thank
No
God.
drinking for me, ever.
Yeah, you probably should quit.
Thank God. Let's start by Joe. I want to ask you a little bit because you had some questions for Maid, specifically about Gladiators Legion, and they were pretty good. We'll let you ask them on the show.
Oh, mucho apreciado. Maid, coming in hot with the I'd say pretty excitable roster. I know I'm slightly biased, but before we get to my favorite pickup this offseason for Contenders, how did this roster come together? How much of this was your doing, or was the collective, the coaching staff? Could you walk us through the thought process of building the Gladiators Legion roster?
Oh, okay. So at the start, me and my co-coach Raptors, who shout out to Raptors, he's incredibly big-brained. He's the nicest person. But yeah, we sat down and we went, what roster would make Volamel the happiest? So we immediately made an offer for Water, knowing that it would make him happy. No, it was a lot of work between me, Raptors, and VL coach John Gold, who made a lot of suggestions who sort of looked at there. But ultimately, we found a bunch of people that we really, really liked, and we got them, I guess.
That's one way to build a roster. When you guys did look at Water, I wouldn't say love at first sight, because again, we've talked, privately, and, he is kind of locked in brick jail at the moment. But this is a big pickup that I've been kind of screeching about on my small, tiny little soapbox, that I think he, is incredibly flexible and should be at least in Contenders, let alone probably could make a great flex player now. But is the hype real? I can speak for myself. I think I'm pretty confident saying that this kid's pretty sick, but you've seen him so far. Again, I think he's probably playing with some sort of ping, because I don't think
he's still playing from Korea. Me, Luddy, and Water are still not at the team house, just waiting for the official process before we can get. So he's suffering a little bit at the moment. He gets up early for scrims. He's on high ping, so he's doing a smash up job there.
So what about? So I do want to ask you a little bit, because you're stepping in, you're filling in some shoes here. Obviously, academy teams overall in kind of the tier 2 scene of Overwatch, I think by design are kind of meant to be the second best teams in competitive Overwatch besides Overwatch League teams. And in this case, the Gladiators Legion have struggled a little bit. They've been 5th through 8th or 9th and 10th through the last 3 seasons. I mean, is this a team, how high do you think that this team can go? Is this a team that you think is going to contend a playoff spot, win it all in Contenders NA?
Well, okay, so I'd like to know if we have competing curses with our team. So I'm cursed to always get 3rd/4th. Luddy is cursed to get 2nd, and Gladiators Legion is cursed to always get 5th to 8th. So we'll have to see which curse comes out on top. But no, I'm very,
that's
very
not very reassuring at all.
But anyway, I'm very certain that we're going to do well this season. I think we've got a very good roster here. Definitely sort of built for the long term, but definitely has a lot of bang for its buck this season as well. Water, especially once he gets to NA, is going to be explosive. The man is insane on DPS. Our first scrim with him, he didn't really understand what we wanted exactly before we set in sort of a communication standard. And he went Genji in Goats, and then proceeded to kill 3 to 4 things a fight. So the man is just nuts on Genji.
So
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. Can I ask? Because, okay, so if you can't answer the following question, just
Answer
remain
it anyway.
quiet. We will have an awkward moment on my behalf. and then we will move on at some point. But can we know if water is a two-way?
I don't believe he is a two-way.
Okay.
Hey, we're getting into the States first. That's the first.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully he is at some point. He's a very exciting player.
Is there going to be
I
a
mean,
timeline to getting those players back over?
Not sure.
Fair enough.
I mean, we know based on Sideshow's little adventure that this can vary very much. Like, it is actually hilarious in Sideshow's case. I think they pretty much there's the situation towards the officer that looked this up must have been nearly identical for Bren and Sideshow, and yet Sideshow is not in LA while Bren is, right? Now, I don't know who was the unreasonable officer in terms of the application that was filed, but I'm pretty sure Blizzard has good lawyers in that regard. So, yeah, sometimes you're just screwed over by the system, I suppose.
Sometimes it's just unlucky.
I'd say as a general thing for the US, the US visa process is very tricky and fraught with danger, as Sideshow found out.
Yeah, it is.
But America is a great country, isn't it, mate? Just for the office. Yeah.
Yo, the food is good though. Food is good.
I don't even know if I agree with that food comment. I mean, the last time I went to America, the burgers were disgusting.
It just reminds me of what Christopher said about
Here we go.
how the hot dog game in the States is on point. And I'm like, you come to the States and you're raving about hot dogs of all things, like anything. Like LA has great food, but we're going for hot dogs, like nothing like multicultural that you might not be able to get like in England, or like nothing. Hot dogs.
Do you think they have hot dogs in England, like regularly?
Probably not, but like
okay, there you go. But to be fair, there's a very different,
get them at IKEA here.
Just like burgers, right? You have the dollar burger from McDonald's, and then you have $30 burgers. There's a big span in burgers. You can elevate a burger. You can elevate a burger to a level, and same with hot dogs. There's a place in Denver called Biker Jim's that is like the most amazing hot dogs. It's like elk jalapeno cheddar, Alaskan reindeer hot dogs, and it's the best. It's what got me through college.
That's the beauty of socialism. Everything is within 10%. That, like, the affordable stuff is within 10% of the top performers. So, like, I'm like the idea.
Yeah, just a bunch of mediocre stuff. I get it. Yeah.
No. Like, actually, cultural food that developed over a history longer than 250 years.
We're getting way off track.
You mean like uncooked pork on a bun,
for instance,
with onions?
That already beats
how cultural. Yes, you're right. Yes, guy. How fantastically cultural of you to take uncooked meat, uncooked pork to be specific, and put it on a bun and eat it. An incredible, dog.
It sounds actually delicious.
See,
I think that's like such a giant leap from any kind of cuisine that like people from the States would eat. I think they'd be completely shut off the idea of just taking uncooked pork and
dude, it's just bread sushi with pork. Think of that, right?
Yes, and I've heard good things, but
this is the part of the episode where I need to apologize to the viewer and the listener. You didn't sign up for this.
Yes, you did.
You signed up for a competitive Overwatch podcast. You're like, you know what? This show's been good. They've had 22 amazing episodes with 22 almost amazing guests. Sometimes it just gets away from you,
and that's the best part.
Sometimes
I'm here to break that streak.
You and your scuffed dog picture.
Oh jeez. Yeah. There's even our definitely not our best teaser pick either. I think this time around.
See, like the meal that Joe describes, like the meat or the raw meat on a bun with onions, is sort of like Soul, isn't it? Like they're super raw. It seems like it's not done. There could be more, and then someone's cutting onions consistently, right?
But somehow this turns out to be good, though, right? At the end of the day, it all seems terrible, but it's good at the end, right? Is that what you're telling me?
Okay,
there's light at the end of the tunnel for me?
No, you just convinced me my analogy was fucking terrible.
Can I just remove you from the call?
Can I just ban you from life?
Is there a way to just remove you? There isn't. Okay, so that's not going to happen.
Overwatch, by the way.
Overwatch, by the way. So let's talk about, there's one more addition to the Gladiators Legion roster that I think was surprising to say the least, and that was bringing XQC back in. So obviously XQC comes with about 40,000 headlines from just his Twitch streams as well as Overwatch League Season 1 with the Dallas Fuel. What did that decision process look like to bring XQC back after what you've kind of seen from him in Season 1? And again, really played well. Like, it's definitely, I don't think it was ever a conversation about, is he good at Overwatch? But there's definitely, I think, a level of worry if I'm a coach or I'm a team manager over a player who has kind of a controversial history in competitive Overwatch.
So I definitely feel that like XQC is an explosive player who definitely deserves like another chance, and I think he was a very good pickup in case Spanker does get called up to Al. He was definitely someone where it was like we want his experience, we want his gameplay. He's done very well for himself, so he just like fitted in perfectly with what we wanted.
Yeah, I honestly think, like, I always thought, like, even when he was at Dallas, I was one who advocated for him to get a second chance. And I think it was never really about his qualities as a player. So, I mean, obviously, okay, let's call a spade a spade. It's unlikely that it's ever going to happen. Even because, okay, what was the purpose of an academy team, realistically? To promote people to OWL or to sell them to other teams, right? So this doesn't seem to be in the cards in terms of just career, what it would make sense for XQC. So, yeah, I think Panker, he certainly is a starting main tank, right? Panker, that is.
Yeah, I think Panker. Definitely have sort of like a lot of faith in Panker. XQC is like ultimately just there to like fill something if Panker is called up to our. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll give that one a pass. I do want to talk about. Do you want to talk about the chicken contendies here, Joe?
Yeah, we kind of wanted to talk about, right, this first win for Gladiators Legion. This is your first win with your new team. Is this how you wanted things to go? Obviously, dropping one map, it's not definitely not terrible, but were you trying to go for the 4-0 sweep, or what could have gone better in your eyes?
I think it was just sort of like a lot of like new roster nerves. Them forcing us to East wasn't exactly conducive to Water having a great time. Mm-hmm. Definitely trying to connect to a server halfway across the world. It's a little bit infuriating at times, but no, chicken contenders were much better than we thought.
Didn't you roast Dream today for like supposedly putting it on ping, and now you're having a go at that?
Look, I am a massive hypocrite.
Justice for Dream.
I am a massive hypocrite. That's the new show title, by the way.
Here we go. Nice. I just wanted to get you back for Dream's sake.
I mean, to be fair,
continue.
You bring up Dream, but that's who Legion plays next week. Is
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay. I think I might use this as the platform to talk a lot of shit.
If you want to talk a little shit.
Yes, let's go.
Dig in. Let's go.
All I'm going to say is that Gladiators Legion would not lose 4-0 to Uprising. In fact, we would win 4-0, and we do plan to win 4-0 against Montreal in the coming, just because we're better players. Across the board, everyone on Gladiators is better than one.
So it's not because of you or a matchup between coaches, it's just the players.
I mean, it is partly due to me. Like, my brain is galaxy-sized. I will crush Dream with it.
I want to get him on here right now. I want to get him in here.
I'm sorry, we're getting a caller. John, can you put him on the line? It's Dream from the top ropes coming in from the outside.
Oh man, could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Be pretty funny.
Yeah. All right. Should we talk about academy teams?
I did want to ask Maid,
go ahead.
One thing about Second Wind. Did you actually have a lot to do with the replacement or your replacement for that team? I think his name is Flubby. I think I remember.
Okay.
You mentioned something about him on Twitter.
This is where I get a little bit emotional when I get all soppy and sappy, whatever it is. So yeah, Flubby was my co-coach, assistant coach last season, and the man is amazing. He's really good at what he does, and I have complete and utter faith that he can lead Second Wind to another style season where everyone gets poached, and then they have to rebuild completely afterwards. But yeah, no, he's very good.
Are you looking forward to be one of the poachers this time?
No, I'm pretty happy with my roster at the moment. That fried fell over. Might need to get rid of him.
Did that satisfy?
One thing that I want to ask is, okay, so how long have you been with Gladiators now? Also behind the scenes, how long have you had time with the team now?
I was officially announced about 3 days ago, but I've been with them for basically a month.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's a little early to ask, but I guess early impressions as to okay, so I always heard that, okay, the unsponsored guys that are not making money, they're always just saying, okay, it's very hard without support. And I definitely agree that is a thing. But I think what a lot of them underestimate is all the shebang that comes with being an academy team. Is this something that you want to point out? Is like that you didn't think was as much work, or like, for instance, like just like media stuff or all the paperwork things, or is there anything like a part of your workload that you just didn't have to do in Second Wind?
I mean, there's definitely like a lot of paperwork that I didn't have to do on Second Wind, because I didn't have to do any kind of paperwork on Second Wind. I definitely think here, like I'd still say it's like easier, just because like I do have like a very good support team. Also like the managers and the staff of Gladiators are top notch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there like PR stuff that will slowly get introduced into your work schedule, or even like? Have they talked to you about PR classes or something like this?
I've already done a bunch of PR stuff, so I'm up to date on like what words I can't say, what words I can say. I'm also probably going to get murdered for doing this podcast.
It was a fun week and a half though as head coach of the Gladiators Legion while you lasted, right?
Pretty sure my body is going to be found in an alleyway.
To be fair, I think this counts as shoulder content, and we know how much the Gladiators value that.
That's a low.
That was such a softball, dog.
Never mind.
I'm so glad that you're laughing at your own joke.
I'm going to be honest. I am the person that entertains myself the best on a regular basis.
I've lost all control. Why am I here? Like, what do I bring to this podcast? I don't know. You guys figure it out.
All right. On the topic of academy teams, what's your view on how some of them are built? So, for instance, right, we take like the British Hurricane and how they're an entire team of Western players. trying to feed into the system as a whole and not specifically into their team, where you guys actually, have a mixed roster as your kind of Overwatch League franchise roster, and you could see some players kind of rotate up. Do you think that what's your kind of take on that? What's your thoughts on that? And do you think that they're using their academy slots correctly?
I feel like each team has sort of like a different vision for their academy team, so it's hard to make sort of like a blanket statement. There we go. Sorry, third time's the charm. Blanket statement on what bit. I definitely think that the Spitfire, like whatever they call it there, London Academy, whatever I can't remember the name of the team. Sorry about that. Hurricane, yeah. Sorry, Nuki. The Hurricane, I think they've definitely done well in sort of like, even though they can't obviously move up their place to our team because of like language barriers, they're still able to like sell their players off at the end of the season, mid-season, whatever, and make a fair amount of money that way. So I think like in that sense, like it works for them.
Do you think that there is any kind of like intrinsic value of having, currently at least, a Western-based franchise so that you can use your academy team as scrim partners or warm-up, practice? I think the Fuel and Envy apparently have a pretty good relationship and work regularly, if I'm to understand this correctly, work regularly with one another to try and, use the academy team to kind of just be this facilitator for a lot of, either niche strategies or some, set plays that, Dallas wants to kind of work on. Is that something that you think should be explored more in the future? Is that something that you think, Western franchises have just kind of an edge up on some of the Eastern slots? Is, what's your kind of take on that?
I definitely think it's like an ideal, like having a Western team in America where you can obviously scrim with our counterpart is very good. Having said that, I don't think many academy teams many our teams use their academy teams to that extent, at least yet. So I definitely think there's a load of improvement that can be made there. I think honestly, like even for some academy teams, like that's just not their focus. Use it differently, and there's like a few different, like there's obviously like a bunch of different ways to use your academy team.
Sure.
Like, obviously we talked about like how London, the academy team for London is different.
Hurricane, yeah.
Sorry, it's 7 a.m.
He just woke up.
True, that's actually true. It's 7 a.m. or something, or almost 8 a.m. for you, right?
Yeah, if I'm not going to get murdered by Borland, I'm going to get murdered by Nuki. It's going to be one of those.
What's that team's name again?
Yeah.
Can't remember.
That has been a consistent issue for you, right? Like the sleeping schedule stuff, especially for Second Wind. Like we know, like gamer culture is already not exactly standing up at 8 a.m. But like I imagine then, if you have West Coasters or whatever, like this delays it that you have to stand up at ridiculous hours in Australia, right?
Well, you see, I'm actually the anti-gamer. I do wake up at 5 a.m. I do go to sleep at 9 p.m. I've never seen midnight. I'm incredibly old. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, is an anti-gamer just an 80-year-old man? Are you just outing yourself as some sort of, elderly person?
Yeah, I am ancient. I've seen a dinosaur.
Ancient galaxy brain. You have this long, wispy gray beard. You're some sort of Shaolin monk from the. I don't know where I'm going with this. Yiska, save me.
At what time is Owl on for you guys?
It starts about 11 a.m. actually, or 6 a.m. depending on the day, depending on how much they like the Europeans.
That's very good. Oh man. Like just for esports life, I think if you want to be a regular adult with like normal work hours, so to speak, like living in Australia sounds pretty good. That seems to be like the time zone that offsets all the awkwardness of, normal gamers staying up till 3 to 5 a.m. and then also sleeping in.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like I definitely love being able to get up at sort of like 8 a.m., being able to log on and just like start work then. there's definitely sort of like that upside to doing sort of like a 9 to 5 job, basically, because of time zones. Yeah.
Oh, you guys waiting for me? Or
you came back, and it sort of felt like maybe.
No. I came back. I fixed the streaming issue.
What was
wrong with it?
Oh, I just cut the bit rate in half. So.
Oh.
I think it might be a bandwidth issue because now your camera here in Discord is also much less pixelated.
I'll look into that.
See your dog on the tablet again?
Choj!
Get off Hearthstone.
Dogs can't play Hearthstone. It's too easy. They play Magic.
Oh, my bad. Speed chess. They play 4D chess.
Came.
That happens when. Oh my! His head is
Big
huge.
dog. For all the audio
Wow.
listeners, there's a giant Saint Bernard. I don't actually know.
Dog.
Whatever he said on John's lap right now and getting all the love, and he looks very bashful and quite
Very cute. Yeah.
very wholesome.
Looks like he would eat my dog.
He
Might eat me, dude. This is why you subscribe, by the way.
You feed that poor boy. Well,
See-
not poor, but
he doesn't look appreciative at all. He's just like he's like, yeah, this is your task. Just do it. Come on. And then he goes off.
You know, bring
like-
the dog into the interview. Just like have him up here. Get rid of KickedTripod. Have the dog do some of the interview questions.
I used to have a
Choji as
Choji cam.
host.
I used to have a Choji cam for my streams, and no joke, my viewer count was like doubled and tripled. And then once I brought Joe onto the stream, who's
Choji was
also-
proto me.
who's
That's good
also
to
like
know.
just a nice, big old bashful Bernese Mountain Dog. Yeah, we about doubled it again. So
Okay, so Overwatch, by the way.
Your transitions are spot on, dude.
It's great, yeah. Okay, so of course this season is going to see one of those big changes to the Contenders circuit with what's it called? The mid-season thing. Is it called mid-season? Because there's two big events, right? After the first season of Contenders and then the second season, right? And the first season determines the amount of slots a region has. Is that what it does? Or is that just me wishful thinking? Do you know the... You probably just know that you want to get in there, right?
Yeah, I should know, but I don't. I think it's like after the season, it's top 3 teams in A plus 1 from South America plus 1 from Europe or 2 from Europe. I'm not entirely.
Yeah. So, do you think that is valuable experience? So, okay, we had this discussion a lot, for instance, with Contenders Korea now, and they've had to shed some offline play. Do you think the experience at LAN and then that twice, now that's twice the case a year for your players, potentially, if they make it, do you think that will significantly impact their chances positively, of course, to be picked up for a while?
I definitely think that having a LAN experience and playing on LAN is one of the most important things you can have. I was kind of sad to see that sort of like Korea LAN experience go, because I think it was a very important thing and sort of like shaping these players up for our. I definitely think like the approach Blizzard should have taken should have been to give this to every region LAN. I think taking LAN away from them was definitely like the wrong way to look at it.
that was going to be my
But,
question: is how important do you like? What does that say for you when Blizzard is obviously going the other way and they're taking away lands and even taking away like English broadcasts, which is like more of a spectator type thing? But
Watch me. This is the episode of Bodyguard where I just say, "Don't answer that, mate! now I am just going to jump in front of this question because, of course, you could be in a position where you have an incriminating response to this. So while I take the first bullet, the second shot you just have to evade, please, and then curve around the PR answer here.
Okay, so I don't know. Like at the end of the day, like Blizzard has their reasons for doing what they do, and it might not make apparent sense to me at the moment, but there's definitely like good reasoning for it. And at the end of the day, I think that Blizzard has like the best interests of tier 2, tier 3, tier 1 at hearts, and we just have to follow it.
Got it.
Dodged.
Very, very, very well
Nailed it.
dodged. Well played.
Well
sir.
done, mate, Neo.
See, Blizzard, we're not so bad.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, I think people have sort of like this preconception that Blizzard are out to hurt people, and I don't think they are. I think they really want you to help. It's just like we don't get the big picture sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and there's a lot of factors, right? We get very keyhole insights into the big picture ourselves. Like we see the big picture from our side, which is, very different.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm going to post it in here. You might be able to bring it up.
So forget that.
Should I?
Okay, so earlier we had the butting of heads, right? So we had Dream on last week. We had Maid on this week. And we have Maid on this week. And Maid took a little time to talk a little about Montreal, which I really appreciate it. And so I sent a message to Dream like, "Hey, do you want to do a drop in on the show right now and get a little rowdy?" And he said he can't. He's actually in the airport, but he did tweet, "Sorry, but if you want to chat about that and seem tough, you can't be afraid of a webcam, Maid."
I mean, unfortunately, unlike Dream, when I do talk shit, I do back it up and I don't lose 4-0.
Here we go.
I feel like you're leaning a little hard on the recent match score. I'm gonna have.
I don't think so.
One match.
I don't think so.
have to
I
ask
love
for
it.
All I'm gonna
little
say-
bit more.
All I'm going to say is
from
that, a certain coach for a certain team did say he was going to win and did say he was going and did talk a lot of shit towards my good friend Iosucks. And now he's got a bit of
Who
a
we've
pie
also
on his
had on the
face.
show,
Okay.
by the way.
So conversely, if Montreal, okay, so do we say 4-0 or do we say just beat you? Okay, if Montreal beats you, then you need to make a video apologizing to Dream, but
like
with
straight
camera
up
on.
Korean style, like you have to like bow and graciously apologize.
As
Maybe we
both-
can humbug.
I don't think that's capable. I don't think Montreal is capable of beating anyone. I'm afraid.
Oh,
you can't ship yourself in a carton that you then don't leave for the next 6 months so nobody can see you, right?
Dream just said in chat, easy to talk when you play Harblue week 1.
Oh.
I mean, all I'm saying is that he played Asking and he lost to Asking Zarya.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Pretty easy to talk shit when he's accusing me of playing Harblue, who's actually a better Zarya than us.
Harblue is a better Zarya than Asking. All right. I want to know what Joe thinks.
So get Asking in here, come on.
Yeah, bring
this is
them
just
all
a
in.
giant round table
Get
of
Io
you
Stucks in
screeching.
here too. Let's just
Yeah,
get
let's-
Io Stucks in here. We'll get him.
Let's get the whole
Let me
thing.
message him right now.
Someone
Maid
post this to
just-
Reddit so that Io Stucks can respond in 0.3 seconds.
You were actually messaging him. Oh my god.
Let's crouch on Asking's Zarya.
Are those,
I
are those
thought you
MX
were
Cherry
gonna
Blues?
Whoa, oh, calling.
I would like to note, just to break the illusion for a second, that I love Io Stucks and I love Dreams. This is all meant to be in the best of spirit, but we are going to crush them for
There it is. We
both
are going to
teams.
crush them
It's going to be
4-0.
a fun one.
Oh, so now we're just transitioning from not only bashing Montreal, but we're also bashing Boston. Is that right, mate?
Yeah. The only uprising Boston are going to do is against Montreal.
Oh, okay. So now we're bashing on behalf of somebody else. All right, I like this cyclical roundtable.
Wow.
Realistically, okay, so for the people who don't know, Contenders NA was split into 2 divisions, and I think it was random. There was no pre-assignment, right, of some of the teams based on the location, right? Was it completely random?
It was the 2 top teams from last season each got a group, and they each got to choose sort of like who they wanted. And yeah, from there we go.
So ISUX got back to me, and he said, every Zarya in Contenders is shit. Asking is just a little less shit than the rest.
I don't think that one's true. Unfortunately, Mira isn't in Contenders anymore, or at least not this Contenders. So he might be a little bit more truthful, but no, he's definitely wrong.
I mean, that's good enough for me for sure.
What topic were you on? Oh, yeah. Okay, so the division between the two regions. So, of course, you're in a group with, don't let me lie.
I have it open.
Yeah,
they're in with obviously Gladiators Legion, plays Uprising Academy, Montreal Rebellion, Fusion University, Mayhem Academy, Second Wind, Chicken Contendies, and Bermuda, who are a trials team.
So I assume Funi is always going to be like one of the favorites.
You say that, and maybe Maid can chime in here, but they actually were taken to Game 5 against Second Wind. If I'm remembering my game.
The Second Wind's always going to be a massive powerhouse. They have the best talent. They have the most beautiful players. Fluffy does have a brain bigger than a galaxy. It is in I can see Second Wind coming pretty high in the rankings there.
But
probably taking out Montreal as well.
Oh.
But who's going to be the team to beat? Who goes to playoffs between?
It's top 6, so it's the 2 teams who don't make it, which unfortunately are going to be Montreal and Bermuda.
Okay,
that would be something, wouldn't it?
No, realistically, I mean, of course, shit talking aside, but I think that's quite unlikely to happen. At least looking at the roster, but yeah, this group is actually. Would you say that your group is way more stacked than the other?
Yeah, it has a lot harder opponents. Sort of like accepting sort of like Montreal, like every other team in the group is quite scary. They would all be top 4 in the other. The other group are big noobs, except Envy. Envy are very little noobs.
I mean, XL2 Academy probably isn't that bad considering that half of them are your former team, right? They told you shit about them already.
Players. Okay, so the 2 best players on Second Wind were Fried, and I understand talent, so I picked up Fried and Mira, who has been exiled back to Latvia, never to return. But everyone on XL2 are big noobs, especially Haku, just a humongous noob.
So we do have a friend of the show in our chat right now, Vowels, who is I believe an assistant coach. Oh, fair enough. We'll say acquaintance
of the show.
That is coaching in the opposite group. Do you have any faith or any words for NA West for you boys at Square One?
Look, all I'm gonna say, Val, is if you lose to some of the teams in your group, I will disown you. I will block you on Twitter and Discord. Good luck, have fun. You're a real stakes for this.
Already did that, by the way.
Let's pull up the schedule. Let's see when Square One plays Envy tomorrow, the 3rd match of the day. So, we might get a verbal spanking on Twitter.
Look, all I'm going to say is that I'm pretty sure Envy are going to roll over them like proverbial steamroller over Small Puppy. It's going to be grim.
Is a steamroller proverbial?
Well,
I mean-
I certainly hope he wouldn't be taking a steamroller to a puppy.
It's proverbial. I don't think anyone on NV actually does own a steamroller.
Yeah, probably not, to be fair.
Fair
Most pro gamers can't do their own laundry.
I actually
or
think that
do their
that's my
taxes.
best question from the whole podcast, by the way. So,
By the way, like, I know you discussed this before, but what is your take? Okay, so of course, Blizzard has said they want to have the patches pretty much aligned to the ladder. Contenders would probably be the proving grounds for new patches before they go live in OWL, because we can't expect them to go live as the stage goes on. So we could theoretically expect Contenders to be more adaptive to this. What is your feeling? What would be the best timing to introduce a content patch? Is it like mid-season? Is it between playoffs and regular season? Or what's your take on that?
So like my response and like the way I look at it is very sort of like particular to this. I am a coach, like I am involved in the competition itself. I'm not necessarily a viewer, and I'm not looking at it for entertainment in that sense. But I definitely think having a consistent patch through both the regular season and playoffs is very important. So I think it makes like. So, like, let's say we put, like, the patch in for, like, mid-season, and you play a sort of, like, very, very good GOATS team in the first week, and then immediately switches over to Dive, like, week 4, and you play, like, another team plays that same team in week 7 when they're really, really, really bad at Dive. Like, suddenly you have a situation where the games are unfair, and it doesn't make sense, and, like, you're being slaughtered by, like, a patch. While otherwise you would have had sort of like this consistent experience. So I definitely think like having the consistent experience throughout both like the regular season and the playoffs is like important. Obviously, for sort of like from a viewer's perspective, you do want to see sort of like something closer to what you're playing in game. A lot of viewers do want to get off GOAT, so like I do understand that. But from my perspective, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to see. Also, sort of like. Sideshow did a Q&A recently, and he was asked how much he enjoys GOATs and how he would rank it in a list of metas that we've had. And apparently, I think he counted 11 different metas, and he put GOATs up at his 4th place of the like top to bottom that he enjoys the most. What's your take on GOATs? Do you generally like the meta, or would you rather also get rid of it?
So like let's preface this with saying like my favorite meta of all time is Dive. I very much miss sort of like 2017, 2018 Dive. It was amazing. Having said that, like I've really come to love GOATs. I really come to like love like the intricacies and sort of like little things that make like the best team so much better, and like all the stuff that goes into like making it good. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate GOATs like that. I don't see the little stuff. So I definitely think I'd probably agree with Sideshow.
Something that Sideshow I think has also kind of penned or coined is this notion that each meta kind of teaches us something. Would you say that GOATs has been the kind of biggest eye opener in terms of how nuanced Overwatch can be? Would you say that you've kind of almost learned the most when playing through GOATs?
I think sort of GOATs came about at a time when I was sort of like really improving myself the most. I think so. I think I'd agree that sort of like it's the most nuanced I've seen Overwatch, but I don't think that's objectively true for everyone.
Sure, of course, that's fair.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation because I feel like most people that spend a lot of time with the game, also thinking through the motions, generally enjoy GOATs. And it's also for the fact, I wonder how the things that we learned from GOATs would transform, for instance, Dive. Is there any of the concepts that you would think, for instance, let's say cooldown management, not just ultimate management, and then also how you invest ults to get your other ults up quicker, or I guess something about tempo and how you take fights. Do you think there are concepts that we can take from goats and would, for instance, be able to be transitioned into comps like dive or like pick or something like this?
I think to some extent, yes. I don't think anything like blatant, but sort of like a lot of like the ideas of like the tempo, obviously like rotations, etc., etc. All stuff you can take into dive. But I think those concepts like existed before goats came about. I just wasn't as good at recognizing them then.
I know we usually don't talk about subs, but Maid just gave Dream a tier 1 sub, and I noticed you spend a lot of cash on just memes basically every month. Like, didn't you send $35 to one of your players to adopt a goat or something?
Yeah, I have brought Panker a goat. It will be arriving at the Gladiators team house very shortly. He has to look after it. It has to sleep in his room. He's not happy about it, but
he also just bought Dream a sub to this channel. So,
So what were your biggest shenanigans in that regard? I think you did some before. I can't really recall the specifics, but I think you do that quite often, right?
Not recently, just because I haven't had a lot of money. But historically, do have a history of.
Did you
spending,
not make a
money.
Fiverr video when you were on Second Wind, or was that IO Stux? I want to say it was either.
No, that was IO Stocks. I paid $20 to have a naked man sliding around the pool with the Second Wind logo over his genital.
Wait, for what?
Let me see if I can find it. Somewhere on the Second Wind for that.
I just love how nonchalantly he said that.
It's a good video.
I'm sure it is, but you say it like, everybody in their spare time spends $20 to pay a naked man.
He swam around the pool. How do I imagine this? He swam around the pool in the S shape of Second Wind, or?
Let me get it for you. Oh, found it. It's a good video.
Penis was the S.
You should put it up on the stream.
Oh, I see.
I will.
Do
right.
it.
1 second, chat. We're going to make this happen. Add.
I know this one, but
yeah.
Okay.
I love the music choice.
Is that TOS?
Probably.
Oh man.
I don't even care. We're going to do it. Yeah, this is happening.
I can't stop watching. It's actually brilliant.
Okay, here we go. I just killed somebody's ears. I apologize.
Rip headphone user. Well, this has been a show, hasn't it?
Oh, wow. So much for being a competitive Overwatch podcast.
Sometimes we have the big brain episodes, and sometimes you just gotta let the hair down and
just gotta see the butt cheeks.
That was
just gotta see the butt cheeks.
That was pretty big brain one way or the other.
If you want a big brain question made, I was kind of catching a little bit of Korean Contenders, and I believe one of the teams again was kind of half asleep while watching it. But on defense, I think one of the teams were using Sombra and Pharah on Eichenwald Point A. Do you think Pharah specifically has a place in the metagame currently, whether in Owl or in Contenders?
I think it does. It's just, I think it's like slightly awkward. My gut reaction would be that sort of like Pharah and Sombra, you can't. It makes it harder to switch into Goats. Obviously,
Sure.
You have an old disadvantage. I think Goats is probably just better overall, at least on the Contenders patch. But I mean, all power to them, making the game interesting, playing DPS, I guess.
Interesting.
Have we talked about Baptiste yet?
You can. You want to? You
I
want to talk
want
about
to.
Baptiste?
Dude, this is okay. I'm preparing an article where I just ask coaches about what the next meta will be. Like if Baptiste goes live with the PTR changes, because that is one thing that blows my mind that people are just like, the Seaward doesn't at all hard counter goats. It's terrible. Like, okay, so why would you look at that in the vacuum of the patch that he will never play in? That doesn't make sense. Like, evaluate him in the actual environment. It's like, white shark is actually not really adapted to like being a predator in the jungle. No shit, bro. Of course not. That's not what's happening. So I guess we can definitely talk about Baptiste there, but in general, what do you expect to come after goats? What's the next in line?
Okay, so my thing is I don't think Briggs actually been nerfed that hard. I could see goats as like a concept being there, but I don't think Briggs. And I also think Baptiste is another like decent anti-dive character just because of her sort of invulnerability thing. If it gives you just like that second or two more to deal with the dive composition. I don't necessarily think Goats is dead, at least not completely, but I could see the game going back to sort of like a double sniper, Orisa kind of sort of like static pick composition.
Very, very much about holding high ground, bunkering down.
Yeah, having said that, Baptiste sort of does allow you to like peak more aggressively now, with your Widow, just because you can throw around your your non-die robot thing, and have your Widow peak, and your Widow just can't die. But I mean,
as long as she stays, static. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we call it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, also sort of like as a thing, like I haven't thought too deeply about this just because like I am focusing on Contenders.
Exactly. Yeah.
My job isn't sort of theory craft what's coming. I need to keep my eyes on the present. Need to make sure I beat Notre Team Montreal Rebellion 4-0 next week. Hashtag shield.
Doesn't Legion not have their own hashtag?
I really want to make it hashtag Sword and Sandals, but I don't think so. I think we just use shields up.
What's Swollen Saddles?
Sword and Sandals.
Oh, Sword and Sandals.
Swollen Sandals. Swollen Saddles.
I'd also accept like hashtag crossing the Rubicon. A little bit more of a different reference, but yeah.
Wayne, do you the person that conceived of a better hashtag for Fusion?
I think so.
I was one of the people. I think I had a good one. Oh yeah, it was Up and Adam.
Yeah.
It's infinitely better than Eye on the Prize.
I think it might be trademarked by The Simpsons, so I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. What was the name of their baseball team? Because I think you're right. It was the
It was,
Springfield Isotopes.
It was the Radioactive Man episode where they made the Radioactive Man. I think that was the same movie in Springfield. And his catchphrase was Up and Atom. And sort of like McBain sort of like Austrian accent, like Up and Atom.
Oh, the what was his name? Rainier Wolfcastle?
Yeah.
Started watching. I have seasons 1 through 19 of The Simpsons, like on DVD. So yeah, less about me, more about Overwatch. All right, I get it, guys. Thanks. Okay. All right.
I do like the chat. I think Lilac comes in and says, why don't we make your hashtag we have water, completely unbiased. Why not?
It's going to change the name of the academy to Water as well. So
What is that?
Water and experience.
Yeah.
How does that work language-wise, by the way? I know, okay, so Water has some experience playing with a Westerner in Kefri, I suppose, but is that generally a problem?
I'm proud to say that the experience didn't traumatize him too much. He can speak a fair amount of English.
Yeah, I've seen on his Twitter that he actually tweets in English quite well.
Yeah, his English
Doesn't he
isn't
stream
bad.
in English as well? Just a little, like usually when he's actually talking.
I think so. I can't remember, but he can speak English like a fair amount, and he's learning more every day. Like I'm so proud of sort of like the effort he's making to improve his English, and just like every scrim it just gets. I mean, if there's something he doesn't understand, Pank is there. Obviously, we have Gladiator stuff. You can also sort of like step in, but yeah, it's not too big of an issue.
Okay.
Very nice.
Can we end this show?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Do you have any other questions, or? I mean,
no,
I just want the leash
been...
back. I just want the leash back, man. Yiska, you're never allowed to drink on a Monday ever again.
Yeah, that usually doesn't happen that often. I actually don't drink that much, but like sometimes you just have to.
Once a year.
Yeah,
you get a mulligan.
There are these tablets, or it's not. It's like
talking about drinking and taking tablets. I don't know where this is going, but this is some TOS type stuff.
No. Like I'm translating it wrong from the German words. It's basically like, the things you put in water and then they fizzle up and whatever.
That would be a tablet, my friend.
Okay, that's a tablet. Okay, so we recently got those that help with hangover, and they actually helped a lot. I think I would be absolutely destroyed if I hadn't taken those. So. Science.
You're always on something on this show.
Am I?
Yes.
The one episode he comes on, he's like, "Yeah, I'm on beta blockers," and now he's just perpetually on some sort of drug.
See, like you make me sound way more cool than you're always on something, some drug, like just like having them. Like,
what's the cool
I'm taking
drug,
shit
man?
that my grandma took. It's terrible, dude.
How's she doing, by the way?
I went to. She's been dead for 15 years or something.
It's pretty grim.
Don't say that. My God, man.
That was a took, dude. That was a past tense. Get the fucking.
No.
So, but yeah, like my cardiologist told me, I have a little wealth problem or whatever. It's fun. It's been great being a 31-year-old in a 60-year-old's body. It's amazing.
I'm not going to release this podcast.
You definitely have to. This is probably one of the best ones.
I'm just not releasing it. It's just not. It's gonna be lost. It's gonna be gone.
Is it one of our scuffed episodes like the one we did, Joe?
Yeah, and they're the best. They're so fantastic.
Episode 6,
sometimes
people are still asking about where's episode 6.
We'll release it for the Patreon that's soon to come. We'll have, fun pictures of us and some sort of weird Maid cosplay, pun intended. And episode 6. So, be on the lookout for that in the never.
Yeah, I think the Overwatch League Daily has a Patreon.
There you go. Can release it there. Go subscribe. Go donate. However much.
Just, I don't know, sub here. Just sub
that
here.
too. Whatever. Do that.
Just do that. I don't know. Maid, sorry for wasting your time.
No, it's been a pleasure. If it was one way I was gonna ruin my career, it would be saying things on this podcast.
Amazing.
I want this to be the Career Ruiner podcast. I think I really do. You can already see Joe and Yiska have already given up.
I mean, you're already banned for that video. I wouldn't be surprised.
Nah, everything was covered. It was just butts.
Yeah.
It's just butts.
I don't know if Twitch is all fine and dandy with the butts.
I think we're all right.
Oh, Jesus. See, dude, that is
in the face.
That is the Academy money, man.
Yes,
There it is.
Academy. Yeah.
Maid. It just gifted 10.
You do realize that if you average out your salary over the last 2 years in Overwatch, then you will have to work at that same salary for the next 32 years in order to make minimum wage. You know that, right?
I am aware.
Marvelous.
All right. Well, this is the first time that a guest has paid us to be on the show.
True.
So I got to thank you for that. But because of that, you deserve a platform. Basically, you get to say whatever you want. Tell people to follow you. Tell people to cheer for Gladiators Legion or cheer against Montreal. I don't really care. And yeah, now you've got the floor, man. It's all you. Closing thoughts here.
All right. Okay. In all honesty, I really do respect all the other teams and contenders. I think they've all done a huge, amazing job of sort of getting there, and I think they're all really good, and they'll all just do better. I do enjoy banter, and this is all in good spirit, though. I'm not really actually being mean to anyone, or that's not my intention. If you do think I am, you can come shit talk me on Twitter at Maid. At Maid_OW. Just like send a nasty comment to me there. I will not respond, but you will make me cry.
All right. There you go. You heard it. Go follow him. I don't know about you guys. I really don't care about NA contenders because, as Yiska said, EU greater than NA. But I do now.
I mean,
and I'm a Gladiators Legion super fan now. So you have that going for you.
You've indoctrinated one of them.
You converted one here today on this show. Joe, what do you got going on, man? What's going on this next week?
Let's see. I've got a couple articles coming out, kind of talking about, week 3 of the Overwatch League and some of the fun narrative points there. I am still in the process of absolutely flaming some of the Overwatch League rosters and rebuilding them for my own selfish desires and trying to play architect a little bit and build a fun roster. I think we did that last year before season 1, and it was quite fun. So I figured I'd give it a go this season as well. But other than that, some analytical content on my YouTube. I think every day I'm going to try and do a little bit, a point review or, a match review or something. So definitely check that out. And definitely follow all these lovely people around me.
All right, Yiska, what are you on besides beta blockers? What else is going on with you?
I also drank a coffee today. Some on coffee.
Hey, what do you want? Cookie?
Yeah. So, sometime, I got a job interview coming out, probably tomorrow. And then sometime this week, I'm preparing to write an opinion piece on our favorite people in Overwatch League. Unironically, for some of them, less so for others. I'm going to talk about the role of a general manager in Overwatch and what that did to possibly the moral or philosophical fabric of esports. And yeah, in general, I think I'll do a lot more interviews now just because it's sort of efficient to do. They still get pretty good hits and they also answer a lot of questions. Then, kick off some of the ideas that you have when someone introduces something. For instance, I can already say Moth is the next one. And he gave me an answer to a concept I didn't think was possible. And that was fluid rosters. So not having 6 players that you want to start, but having fluid rotations. So that already is very interesting to me.
Dope.
What you doing, John? What's up with you?
Oh, I'm going to be recovering from this podcast for the next 6 days. So, yeah. As for me, I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore after this. Got a haircut last week, so I don't have to do this week. Did a podcast. Nothing really new coming for me. Going to try to do some streaming, though. Streaming some Apex.
There you go.
Been trying to play some Apex with Yiska. But our third is always just a struggle bus. So, you know.
I mean, you only want to land on one spot, and then none of us have the aim to back it up. And it's like, we got 1 kill on average every time we drop. Is that bunker or what's it called?
You can drop 2, sir.
It's just fun.
You don't have to relinquish it every time here, Sasha, okay? Jeez.
The games are so much more fun, so much more action-packed to die always as first blood and then respawn.
I mean,
Joe seriously has toxoplasmosis, dude. Like, this guy does, like, his fabric is basically aggression. He's the fucking Fraggy of Apex Legends. It's unreal.
Take it.
Dies just as much, too. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you all for hanging out. Thanks for all the subs made. Yeah, thank you to our guest for all of the subs. Appreciate
Seems
it.
silly enough.
Yeah.
I would fucking celebrate him if he just wasn't there anymore. That would just be the to this podcast.
Chef's kiss.
For those listening to the show for the first time, I apologize. Go listen to...
Don't apologize. This is going to be one of the most 5-starred. Again, if you haven't already, hit that 5-star.
On what?
What is it? iTunes?
iTunes, yes. Leave a
There we go.
5-star
See, I'm
review on
learning.
iTunes.
I'm still learning.
Leave a 5-star review on iTunes. Subscribe on the YouTube. Follow on Twitch. Subscribe on Twitch. And, just be a good person. I don't know. Be good. What? Sasha.
Rusker just said, put this show out of its misery.
Dude, when you were talking about, like, your haircut, Yiska literally pulls over his lunch and is like, nah, I better eat.
Dude, I couldn't resist my kebab
food.
I came home late from work and then I ran so I could shove some more kebab in my face. But then you all guys already called me, so I was like,
you told me to call.
Yeah, because we're already 5 minutes over, and I'm German, and this fucking kills me inside.
Thanks for watching Tactical Crouch. See you guys next time.
Yeah.